Hello and welcome to another What I Eat in a Day video here on the channel that has kindly been sponsored by Squarespace, but more on them later. On this morning, I started my day with some stomach ease tea because my IBS has been playing up big time lately. And this is one of the things that I like to do when my stomach is uncomfortable or in pain. And I prepare it in the morning and I let it sit for about 10 minutes. This tea really becomes super fragrant and tasty when you let it sit for a long time. And I think it's good for the herbs to really develop as well and help you with your stomach. So while that was steeping, I did some breathing exercises and I used Deliciously Ella's app Feel Better. It has some good breathing exercise routines on there. I find that breathing exercises really help me calm down, but also loosens the muscles around the stomach that can be a little bit tight and cause pain. And if you have trapped gas, this can be really good for that as well. I only do it for about 10 minutes and I feel much better after, and I head back to grab my tea that has now been steeping, and this is a great start to my morning when I'm feeling a little off. And I don't know about you, but when my stomach's feeling uncomfortable, I like to eat familiar things that feel easy for my body to handle and digest. And one of those things for breakfast for me is oats. This day, I decided to try Alexandra from Fibre Health's recipe for blended oatmeal. So basically, I blended up some oats in my Vitamix just to make it into a flour. And then I'm going to cook it just like oatmeal, and it becomes this very smooth textured oatmeal. I'm also adding in some almond meal as that's what Alexandra recommended, and I'm spicing mine with some vanilla powder and a pinch of salt. And then I'm cooking it only in oat milk. Usually I do my oatmeal with water and milk, but this is how Alexandra wrote her recipe, so I wanted to stay true to that. I found with this oatmeal that I needed to stir it quite a lot, so I used a whisk. And while that was starting to cook, I chopped up some dried apricots to top my porridge with. Here you can really see how smooth this blended oat porridge is, and it was actually very soothing for my tummy, so I definitely recommend this recipe. If you want to try it, you can find the recipe on Alexandra's app, Fibre Health. I'll make sure to link that down below. And I topped my porridge with some almond butter, as well as those chopped up dried apricots and a little bit of hemp seeds, and then I decided that that was enough. I like to keep things relatively simple when my stomach is not feeling its best. Another thing I do on days like these is drink enough water, or at least liquid. It can be herbal teas and water, just to alleviate the pain. I really find this helps, and of course it's great for you to drink enough water in general. So I'm just about to make lunch, but before I do that, I want to tell you about some things that I find really help me with my stomach when I feel like it's gone off kilter like it has for the last week or so. And the first thing I already showed you is to have herbal teas that are sort of composed to help you with digestive stress or when your stomach isn't feeling quite right. And those teas usually have things like fennel and ginger, sometimes licorice and other spices. And they're nice to drink, they're a nice flavor, but they're also soothing. So that's one thing that I like to do. You could also even just put some fennel seeds, like pound them up a little bit and put them in your teapot, and you can make your own fennel tea that way. Another thing is to drink enough water. I think often when I have stomach issues, it's because I haven't been drinking enough water and I've been stressing. So drinking enough water and then trying to do things to calm me is really helpful. Like I showed you that I like to do breathing exercises, although I'm not very good at this, but I do think it really helps to do things like breathing exercises and meditation. And another thing that I do is to eat some digestive enzymes, and I've actually run out of the ones I like, so I can't show you, but the ones I usually like are the vegan digestive enzymes from a brand called Solgar, and they have some peppermint extract in there and some other things that help you with your digestion. And I do really think that these help, especially if you eat them just before you eat, or you could even eat them after, or whenever you feel like, okay, now it's gone really wrong. You just take one or two of those, and I think it really helps. Another thing that is really good, obviously, is to eat probiotics or fermented foods, but I think this we really need to do, or I really need to do on the regular for it to help. So it's not really something that you just take to alleviate the issue you're already feeling the symptoms of. But I do think that my gut has been feeling much better when I've been consistent with eating fermented foods like sauerkraut, kimchi, miso paste. Yeah, the list can go on, but like fermented vegetables especially, or taking probiotic supplements. But I haven't been doing that, so maybe that's a contributing factor to what's going on right now. And then I also tried last year, after I had food poisoning, sadly, I tried this fiber supplement that Alexandra from 5sec Health, she recommended it to me. It's called Sunwic. It's like a fiber supplement, and it helps with IBS, or should help with IBS, and it really helped my stomach get back into balance after I had food poisoning. So I can recommend that as well if you are looking for some things to help your stomach deal with whatever's going on inside of you and feel better. But yeah, we're gonna make lunch. But also, before I tell you what that is and start doing it, I want to thank Squarespace for sponsoring this video and tell you a little bit more about them. Squarespace is an all-in-one website builder with lots of great tools to make it easy to build a beautiful and well-functioning site without any previous knowledge about coding or website building. Personally, I've used Squarespace to create my online food photography portfolio, and I really like that it is so easy and intuitive to use. There are plenty of themes, font combinations, and color combos on Squarespace to get you started, and there are themes for many different purposes, so it's great for everyone from business owners and e-commerce all the way to creatives and bloggers. So if you're thinking about creating a website for any purpose, check out squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch your site, go to squarespace.com/goodeatings for 10% off your first website or domain. Okay, so let's make some lunch now. And I'm going to make a really simple sweet potato and lentil soup. I've got some split lentils, and I'm going to spice it with some curry powder. And some people that have stomach issues find that spices can aggravate it, but I don't find spices that bad for my stomach. It's more that if the food is really spicy, hot, that I get some issues. So I've just got some mild curry powder and some garam masala to spice it up so that it's enjoyable and tasty, and some onion, garlic, and all that jazz. Very simple, but that's exactly what my body needs right now. So let's make some soup. As with most of my recipes, I start the soup by chopping up some brown onions, and I use 2 smaller onions for this recipe. I also chopped up about 3 garlic cloves roughly, and the soup makes about 3 or 4 portions. I'm also using 2 smaller sweet potatoes that I like to peel and then chop into chunks. When I'm struggling with my IBS, I like to cook simple meals, both because it doesn't require a lot of energy, time, or prep, but also because I find it's easier for my stomach. So for this recipe, that's all the veg prep that's needed. And then I heat up some oil in my Dutch oven, and I'm going to temper some cumin seeds in the oil. This is just for a couple of minutes to make the oil really fragrant, and then I add in the onions and saute them for a couple of minutes until they're softened. Once the onions are soft, I go in with the chopped up sweet potato as well as the garlic, and I saute that for a couple of minutes, and then I'm going to rinse 1 cup of yellow split lentils and add those to the pot as well. I like to stir them through before adding the water, and I'm also going to add in the spices. I'm using 1 tablespoon of curry powder and half a teaspoon of garam masala. I just stir that through, and then I add in 3 to 4 cups of water, probably somewhere in between the two. For more flavor, I also add in 1 vegetable stock cube, and I stir that through, and I bring the soup to a boil and then turn it down to simmer for about 15 to 20 minutes. After cooking for about 15 minutes, my soup looked something like this, so I decided it was time to serve it up. And to zhuzh the soup up a little bit, I added some dollops of vegan Greek yogurt on top, and I topped that all with some fresh coriander, which pairs lovely with the curry spices. As my appetite is a little bit lower when I'm feeling a little off, I did not eat any bread or anything on the side of my soup, but I definitely would do that normally. After lunch, I sat down to do some work, and I've almost finished my ebook now, or Rob and I have. We have been working on it together, and we're so excited to share it with you in about 2 weeks. It's a book all about comfort food and plant-based cooking, and we put a lot of our ideas and love into it, and we just can't wait to share it with you, so stay tuned for that. And then, of course, I had some scratches with Skrut the cat, and she's still staying with us, and we're both loving it. As it was Friday, Rob and I also decided to take a little stroll on the town. One thing that really helps me with my stomach is gentle movement, like walking and yoga or very gentle Pilates, something that just gets everything moving around the body. And on a day like this, you definitely have to head outside. It's been a while since we've had such blue skies here in Malmö, and it was the perfect little stroll down to our favorite cafe, Flax, where Rob wanted to have his Friday donut from a famous bakery here in Malmö called Leve. So I had some tea, Rob had some coffee and a donut, and we sat down to enjoy our Friday afternoon. Flax is a wonderful place run by an urban farmer called Buddha, and they make delicious coffee and offer delicious treats, but also have really yummy food all year round. And in the summer, it's a really lovely place to sit outside and people, and especially dog watch. There are always cute dogs at this place, so if you're like me and crazy about animals, then this is the place for you if you're visiting Malmö. They also offer lots of different local goods, and pretty much everything on offer is vegan as well, so that's great. Since I couldn't have a donut when we came home, I decided to have a snack. I just chopped up a banana, sprinkled on some pomegranate kernels and some hemp seeds, and that was my Friday afternoon snack. Maybe not quite as yummy as a donut, but still pretty darn tasty. When it came to dinner time, I decided to do a little nourish bowl, and I'm cutting up a butternut squash first that I'm going to roast in the oven. I always like to peel the butternut. I know a lot of you out there don't, but I do, and then I just chop it into little cubes. I drizzle the butternut squash with a little bit of olive oil, and I season it with salt before tossing it to coat. also going to prepare some broccoli, so I just cut the florets off the stem and divide them. And as you know, I love to also cook the stem, so I'm going to peel that and chop it into pieces as well. The veggies, I'm also going to bake some tofu in the oven, and I'm using this herb marinated tofu. I think I've used it before in one of my videos, and I just like to chop that into cubes as well. And then when everything is chopped and ready, I add my broccoli to a steamer basket with boiling water underneath, and I'm just going to steam the broccoli until it's nice and tender. With the tofu cubes, I go to the oven and I add them to the tray with the butternut squash. I think they need a little bit less time than the butternut, and that's why I like to do it like this. Then to tie it all together, I'm going to serve it alongside some red quinoa that I've cooked. And quinoa is actually one of the foods that my stomach absolutely loves. So when I'm feeling discomfort, this is a food that I always reach for. So if you have a sore tummy or problems with a sore tummy, then try quinoa. Maybe it will work for you as well. Then I just serve the rest of the veggies and the tofu onto the plate with the quinoa, very simple, and I top it with some kimchi that I bought from Flax. They make really yummy vegan kimchi, and it's not very spicy, so it's okay for my stomach. Then to dress it all, I drizzle over some lemon juice, very simple, and I also add some soy sauce to my broccoli and the quinoa especially. And that is my nourish bowl for the evening. So this is my simple but very yummy dinner, and one vegetable that I think is really nice when you have a sore tummy is pumpkin or butternut, anything in that family, and sweet potato as well, which I used in the lunch meal. One thing that's maybe not so easily digestible is broccoli, but I find that when I steam it like this, it's much more gentle on my stomach. But maybe well, I think that when it comes to stomachs and IBS, you have to figure out what works for you. And this video is just about me sharing what works for me. And I wanted to say two more things that help me when I have a sore tummy. And the first one is eating in peace with a lot of calm and chewing properly. It really helps. And the other thing is using a hot water bottle. So when I'm sore, I put hot water in this and I put it on my belly, and it feels much better, especially now when it can get a little bit cold, well, throughout the day, but also in the evening. So I've got this warmed up and I've got my yummy dinner, and I'm ready to call it a day. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching. And as always, I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Take care, everyone.